Well, welcome everybody to the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. We're coming to you live from the Beach House Grill. We're in Old Town, Fort Collins, 125 South College Avenue. And happy to have everybody aboard here with us tonight across the Colorado State Sports Network. And, of course, everybody enjoying fine food and beverage here at the Beach House Grill. Certainly we invite you to come down as we do each and every Wednesday. We're here from 6 to 7 p.m. as we talk Colorado State Ram football. They have beer specials as well. So, again, get on down to the Beach House Grill if you can make it and talk some CSU football. Well, here's what we have coming up in the next hour. We'll kind of look back and lament a little bit on the Boise State game from this past week, and that was an awfully good Bronco team that came into Sonny Lubick Field at Hughes Stadium. Boise State would get the win, and it was a great atmosphere out there in Fort Collins on Saturday afternoon. Over 30,000 fans, most of them all dressed in white. And outstanding atmosphere with great weather, but Boise would end up getting the win. And with the loss for Colorado State, they fall to 3-3 now on the season, but well, no rest for the weary as Colorado State going to go right back onto the gridiron coming up this week, and they're going to go back onto the road. It's been a place that has treated the Rams well this year. CSU 2-0 on the road so far this season. Road game number 3 coming up on Saturday as Colorado State will travel to the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas. They get set to take on UTEP, a team that also comes in at 3-3 on the season. But the Miners looking pretty good last week as they went on the road and got a big 44-7 win at Tulane. So you know that UTEP is going to be playing with a little extra pep in their step coming up on Saturday. Of course, we'll have all the coverage for you right here on the Colorado State Sports Network. We'll be on air on Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. with our tailgate show, and the kickoff from El Paso, Texas coming up at 6 p.m. And we invite you to tune us in coming up on Saturday night. Well, if you want to get involved with the program here's how you do it. 1-866-702-7691. That is the toll-free number that we have for you tonight. Or you can email on askthecoach@csurams.com. We also have an in-house mic set up for you if you're in-house and want to ask the coach a question or throw out a comment or two as well. Again, that toll-free number, 1-866-702-7691. All right, we'll take our first time out, and when we come back, we'll be joined by head coach Steve Fairchild. That's next from Milligan Sports and the Colorado State Sports Network. Well, welcome back here to the Beach House Grill, Old Town Fort Collins on a Wednesday night. We're here every Wednesday night for the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. Brian Roth with you and joined by the coach, Steve Fairchild. A great in-studio audience with us here tonight. And before we get going, I want to say congratulations to Ben Chulik, the Director of Marketing at Colorado State. His last day at CSU is Friday. He's headed on to the University of Arizona. Ben's been here for 4 years. He's done an outstanding job. So if you see Ben back there in the room, buy him a beer. Not too many beers, though. Congratulations, Ben. Well, Steve, talk a little bit about the game on Saturday. I know you knew that Boise State was going to be a very, very good team, certainly the best team you were going to see all year, but I know you didn't see the game going the way it did.
I certainly didn't, but we do know that getting off to a good start was going to be key against a game like that. You know, the week before they'd beaten Fresno at home by 50, so you know, they were a confident, talented football team. We needed to make something happen early. We just couldn't get it done, and boy, that quarterback, you know, I knew Kellen Moore, I knew he was a good player when we watched him on tape, but in person he was just lights out, and he was having one of those nights in the zone, and there wasn't much we could do to stop that.
Yeah, he opened up 17 of 17. A stat I didn't realize until somebody handed me a note. He just doesn't make mistakes, whether it be throwing the ball or in his reads and progressions.
Yeah, and really that's kind of the way their football team is in every phase. They don't really beat themselves, and you know, they've been winning a lot of games and steadily increasing their talent base, and all of a sudden they've got a team with a bunch of seniors that are pretty darn good. So you know, they took it to us pretty good. You know, that happens. We just got to regroup now and find a way to get a win this Saturday.
I know when you enter a game like that, you know you have to play about as good as you can play and mistake-free. And I know Pete missed on a couple of early passes in that contest that he would have liked to have had back.
Yeah, we took a few shots early on and, you know, had some chances in that regard. Actually ran the ball pretty good for the first half at times, but you know, they were playing their A game. You know, we had a couple guys nicks. You know, when Paul Madsen went out at the end of the first quarter there, that kind of took us out of some things. But give them their due. You know, they've got a very, very talented team, and they're well coached, and they haven't been making mistakes. They stay healthy, they're going to be tough to beat.
Did you think you'd be able to beat them deep because you did hit Kaufman on a deep ball in the second quarter?
Yeah, there's some situations where we thought maybe we'd get in behind them a little bit, and took a few chances. You'd like to be a little more consistent with the run game before you try to do that, but we did choose to take a few shots, and you'd like to think you'd execute those a little bit better, but we didn't.
How did you guys feel going into halftime? Because it seemed like you had a little bit of momentum. You had scored the final 13 points of the first half.
Well, we played decent in the second quarter, so that lended itself to something positive when you went into halftime. That's kind of the way we've been this year. At times we'll play with anybody, but we just haven't been able to put complete games together, and we're a little nicked up, and maybe that's leading to the inconsistency. But at some point we're going to have to put a few quarters together of good football.
Yeah, we did that TV show on Monday night, and I asked you about the fake punt at the start of the second half, and you said that was something that Boise had never done before. It was not on tape anyway.
Well, it was a different look, and we try to, we always take a catalog of video on every special teams coordinator and what they've done throughout the years and work on. That was a nice little adjustment. I mean, it was a wrinkle we had not worked on, and obviously it worked for them.
What'd you tell the kids in the locker room afterwards? Obviously, a group when you get beat like that can be a little demoralized. What did you tell them?
Well, first of all, they're a good group of kids, and I don't think anybody was demoralized. I think they're very, very disappointed, and we talked a little bit. I mean, that was just an unacceptable performance on our part, in every way, shape, or form, coaching, playing, however you want to put it, and we'll see now how we bounce back. We're at that halfway point. It's kind of the, you're hitting that 200-meter mark in a 400-meter race, and you're either going to fade or you're going to come on. And, we got 6 games. We've got to just come on a little strong here at the end. Yeah,
I know that's what you have to get your kids to realize. And I know you believe they do, but you're sitting at 3-3 on the season, and you have your final 4 games of the season at Hughes Stadium. So there are some things that are still in your favor this year.
It is, but you just got to get back on track. That's the key to this thing. Is if you do stumble and lose a game, you just got to get back with a win. You got to string some wins together, and we had a chance to do that at times, and just haven't. We failed in the San Jose State game. That would have been a nice one to get, but. We got to make up for it now. We got all these games are winnable. We got six headed, coming up, and so there's a lot of football left in this season.
I've seen a lot of quotes from kids talking about that. You got to get back on track right away. You can't let this thing start to slide. And to a man, from the quotes that I've heard, kids honestly believe that this is a different ball club this year, and that they do have that mentality to do that.
Yeah, there's no question. And when you get one, you get another one, and you try to string them together, and that's how good teams play, and that's, you're usually in postseason play if you can do that.
Yep, again, the Rams get UTEP coming up here this weekend. Well, Ram football is brought to you by Ford. Ford is a proud sponsor. Go to thinkfordnow.com and then visit your local Ford store and drive one. We'll have more with the coach, Steve Fairchild, coming up after this. First a timeout. The Beach House Grill 9 and Ford Collins from Milligan Sports, Colorado State Sports Network. Back here at the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins, we continue the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. Live right here on the Colorado State Sports Network. Brian Roth with you along with Coach Steve Fairchild. The phone number, if you want to get involved with the program tonight, 1-866-702-7691. Again, 866-702-7691. Well, we mentioned some of the injuries, and they seem to continue to pile up. Mike Arakpo goes down early in the game with what looked to be a head injury, and then Paul Madsen, another starting tackle, goes down for you too, Steve.
Yeah, and Paul going out, kind of got us out of some personnel groups that we normally use. A lot of times we put a third tackle in the game and do some things. We don't even have a third tackle right now. So Paul's out maybe a few weeks. There's a chance maybe we'll get him back after the bye, but it puts us down to our 4th and 5th tackle, which are I think are going to be really good players for us. They're just a bit young, so we're got a little bit of concern there, particularly when you're playing somebody like Boise. That put a strain on us a little bit, but hopefully we'll get Paul back right after the bye week. Mike Rakpo went down. Obviously, he leads our team in tackles. With Sisson already down and Kwolek down, that starts to get a little thin in that area. We've been playing Aaron Davis as a true freshman some, and
he went down.
Yeah, and then he went down too. Late. We were going to suit some Bernard Clark up. We're going to put pads on him, try to get him out there to play. So, but we should get some of these guys back. Froland was out there a little bit today. Nuku was out there a little bit today. we'll see as the week goes on Arakpo. Aaron Davis was out there trying to go a little bit today. So we'll see. As the week goes on, we'll have a little better idea on who's available.
I know that's fantastic to get Froland back and Latu. It solidifies the depth there at defensive tackle. You look at the linebacking core, and for a lot of that game on Saturday, you're sitting there playing without the starting linebacking core that you thought you would have in spring football.
At one point, there was 4 out. So, I mean, we were down to 6, 7, 8, playing. Sometimes you don't even suit those guys up, but that's where we were at. I counted at one point in the second half there, we had 15 guys that would be on the field weren't on the field. So it's just been a funny year in that way. But, we've developed some guys. We've had some guys step up and do a nice job. And, Aaron Davis and Shaq Barrett. And, I think both these freshman tackles, like I said, are going to be very, very good players when they gain experience. So I think in the long run, this is going to pay off. But it's you just wish you didn't get hit in the same position so many times in a row.
Now, did you see how Arakpo got hurt?
Yeah,
I thought it was impressive because he lost his helmet and continued with the play.
Yeah, he still went after it, which he's a lot more courageous than I am.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
No question about that. You talked about Aaron Davis, and here's a true freshman. You guys liked him right at the start of fall ball. What is it about Aaron Davis? Where's number 37 out there for the Rams? What is it about Davis that has earned him playing time as a true?
Well, when we first of all, he committed to the University of Washington. We kept recruiting him, and we were very fortunate that he ended up coming to Colorado State. And then when I saw him in August, he reminded me of Mike Sisson my first year when I saw Mike in the spring, the redshirt year of Mike Sisson. And I thought, this guy's pretty athletic, very good in space, very fast, and maybe a tad bit undersized coming in, but got a chance to be a tremendous player. I really think that with him, so like all freshmen, we were hoping to redshirt him, but when things went the way they did at the linebacker spot, we ended up playing him this year.
And then talk a little bit about the 2 redshirt freshmen that are going to be starting at tackle for you then coming up on Saturday.
Tyson Bryo and Mason Hathaway are both, both have the size and the length and toughness, and they're smart and athletic. And, they've been our 4th and 5th tackles, because I think Joe Caprillo and obviously Paul Madsen would be the starters, and Jared Baird would have been our 3rd tackle. So all 3 of those guys we really like. We think are going to be tremendous. I think a couple of them will end up in NFL camps, but these 2 young guys gave us, a couple of young tackles that we thought we could bring along, and maybe redshirt them last year, back up for a couple of years, and then play. And but they're being forced in the lineup. I've never seen at the offensive line spot losing 3 tackles in 1 year, but it's the way it's been.
Yeah, of course, Joe Capriolio, the Highlands Ranch product, got hurt, a season-ending knee injury against Colorado, and it has been one of those years. And I know no one's going to feel sorry for you, but
no, and it's across the board. Every team's dealing with this. That's why you need to get a complete roster. I mean, you got to be top to bottom. You got to have some good players, because not only does it give you competition, it helps you withstand injuries. And we're getting there. I like our young kids. Like I said, a couple of years ago, we wouldn't have been able to field a team at this point, but now I think we're still putting some pretty good players out on the field.
Yeah, and you also had an opportunity late in that game. I know it's not the opportunity you want to play in when you're getting beat, but you had an opportunity to play some of the 2s and even delve into some of the 3s late in that contest.
Yeah, we got a lot of guys got some time, and we've been playing a lot of people too. We've been rolling, guys like Brandon Haynes have been going in at guard for us. We've been playing a number of guys on the defensive line. At one point, I think we were playing 10 defensive linemen when they were all healthy. So, and when as we get better and better, that's going to be the case. And I think in the long run, it helps you. Like I said, it gets a lot of guys experience, and it creates competition.
All right, again, that phone number is 1-866-702-7691 if you want to hop on board here tonight. The Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show brought to you by Frontier Airlines. FrontierAirlines.com is the place to go for the best values in the air, whether you want to follow the Rams or just want to get out of town. Frontier has you covered with over 80 destinations across the U.S., Mexico, and Costa Rica. Plan to book your next trip at FrontierAirlines.com. All right, we'll take a timeout. More to come tonight from the Beach House Grill in Fort Collins. From Nelligan Sports, Colorado State Sports Network. Back here at the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins, we continue along here in the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. CSU Rams getting geared up to take on the UTEP Miners coming up Saturday night down at the Sun Bowl in El Paso. Again, we'll have the coverage of that game for you right here on the Colorado State Sports Network. Pre-game show begins at 4, kickoff shortly after 6 p.m. Again, the phone number tonight, 1-866-702-7691. And for the first time tonight, we'll go to the phone lines. It wouldn't be a Steve Fairchild Show without Daryl in Knoxville. Daryl, welcome.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
I have a question about TV, which is kind of weird. This is the first game I think that I'm not going to get to see. And, when we look back as fans, I think a lot of us remember playing on, Thursday night on ESPN. But really now you get to see 11 of 12 games on TV. And I'm just wondering, as a coach, how helpful is that for a smaller program like Colorado State to be able to go into a recruit's home and say you're going to be on TV 11, 10 times this year versus maybe 3 times best with ESPN?
Well, you bring up a great point. And number one, TV exposure is huge. And I think it's kind of led to our improved football teams as we went through the 90s, playing those Thursday night ESPN games. And it was such great exposure. And, to this day, I was down recruiting Momo Thomas when I first got hired here in Kissimmee, Florida, right in the middle of the state. And the high school coach, said, I remember watching you guys on Thursday night television, and I always wanted to go to a game at Colorado State. In fact, when I moved back to Buffalo to coach for the Bills, I remember one of my neighbors said, it was his dream to go to Colorado State and watch a game because he'd seen it on a Thursday night ESPN game. So those things are big time. Now the Mountain gives us the exposure because depending on DirecTV and what have you, you can get most of our games anywhere in the country, which is key when you're recruiting that somebody's parents, if they are relatively far away and not going to make a plane flight every week, that they can watch their son play. So we just got caught this week. This is an out of conference game. It's not going to be picked up by the Mountain. So this was a late game that we scheduled. We had no intent of playing this game until BYU left the Mountain West Conference, and then we were scrambling for a game. So we should be on TV. It should. We've kind of positioned ourselves with the help of Paul Kowalczyk to be in relatively good shape as far as television exposure goes.
All right, Daryl, appreciate the phone call. Again, as always, phone calls certainly are welcome, 1-866-702-7691. And you talk about the TV exposure, but talk a little bit about going down into the state of Texas. You play a non-conference game, and you guys like to go into Texas to recruit.
Yeah, I think anytime you can play where you have a recruiting base, it's a positive. Number one, we'll have the West Texas kids and the Texas kids that their parents are within range now to see them play one more time. I'm sure a lot of our players from that area will have their parents at this game, and it gives us exposure. We are recruiting that state fairly hard, and now we have an identity down there when we go down and play TCU or UTEP or whatever game we play in that area. So we try to schedule non-conference in terms of recruiting base. We're heavy in Southern California. We're always going to play San Diego State and UNLV, and now Fresno and Nevada are going to come on the lead. So that will help us there as well.
Again, the Rams on the road at UTEP here this weekend, but the next home game for Ram football is coming up Saturday, November the 12th against San Diego State. It's a Coke combo day. It means you get 2 tickets, 2 hot dogs, and 2 Cokes for only $40. Get your tickets now. Call 1-800-491-RAMS or visit CSURams.com. All right, plenty more to come here on the program tonight. This is the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show live on the Colorado State Sports Network.